My side voice is down. Everything is good. It's fine.
Everything's good. Yes. Welcome,
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh,
Greetings.
very, very good.
Greetings. Today we
Cheers.
have, welcome to the Komodo Pioneers podcast. Today we have Satinder Grewal, legendary, famous Satinder Grewal, and
Very
Nitin,
well. Yeah.
Nitin of Meshbits team, Notary Node candidates. Welcome, Nitin. Welcome, Satinder. How are you guys today?
Thank you. Thank you, Angelina.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very
Very
warm
good.
welcome.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about Meshbits. You guys are Meshbits, and we would like to know more. Why don't you just start by clearing up? You first of all have left us a pretty thorough document here detailing yourselves and what you would like to do. But in your own words, why don't you describe to us and discuss to us your vision, what you want, what you see happening, and that sort of a thing. And whoever wants to start first can go.
Satinder can take a lead on that.
Okay. So, Team Meshbits. Last year, it was me. I stood as a candidate, and I got um, I got elected for two nodes. One is Northern America, NA, and another is the Southern Hemisphere, SH. So at that time, it was just me. So the node names were Grewal underscore NA or Grewal underscore SH. So this year, I have Nitin with his team. So he joined me. So we both named our team as Meshbits because that suited to me the logical way to present our two duo as a team. So we will work as a team to give value to the ecosystem, to facilitate our services, our skills, to help the ecosystem however I can. So I come from technical background, my whole history in IT, and I have done diverse technical things in my career, from web developer, from system admin to a lot of diverse technical stuff. Same is the case with Nitin Sharma. So I let Nitin introduce him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like Satinder was saying, I'll start with a bit of background about myself. So we actually both have worked together at one point, like around I think 2007 or something, and we
Yeah,
both were Linux professionals or Linux admins at that time. So we both are very much familiar with each other's capabilities and how we go about solving different problems. So Satinder has been involved with Komodo for a while, and he has been really passionate about blockchain and how it's going to revolutionize, and just sharing the thoughts. Like I think he started sharing a year or so back when he joined Komodo, and or probably even before that. And I was intrigued, but I didn't actually understand how it's going to revolutionize at that point. So recently, Satinder decided to share more details about okay, what the difference is with Komodo, what exactly it brings in comparison to Bitcoin and all other things. And that's when I was like, okay, I am working full time. I'm very busy at the moment, but I think this is something which, from career perspective, from change in industry perspective, I need to pay attention to that. So that's when I started asking questions around, okay, what can we do? Where can I contribute? Like I would like to put in my time. And I knew that Satinder is going to definitely help me out there by mentoring me. And so basically having that strong technical background and having someone that you can rely upon for that knowledge so that you don't have to go through all that technical documentation. You don't have to. So that I think that just made me quite intrigued. At the same time, it made me quite passionate about learning faster. So as a consequence of this, this drive, Satinder just out of nowhere decided to just take a trip to Melbourne. And for, I believe for a week, we were like just sitting down, asking questions, having lengthy conversations. And I'm very sure both of our partners were not happy because we were not able to give time to anything other than crypto conversations. So what the platform is about, how the evolution started from like how it was forked from Zcash, and what we are actually doing in terms of asset chains and all that. So it was a bit of a shock for me. I'm still trying to get my head around. Now going back to the more concrete point when we talk about our vision and contribution. So our focus is like, I was taking a look at what other Notary node operators are offering. And not to say that in a negative manner, but the profit sharing model, it's something that we looked at, and I asked Satinder, like, why can't we do that? And Satinder has been very firm on his point of view, which is we actually want to scale up the entire ecosystem. It's not about making money in the short term. It's about seeing the bigger vision. If we want this platform to be better than most systems out there, and not just a vehicle for, you just pump and dump. If you don't want to do that, then you have to take that revenue and you have to put that back into building up infrastructure such as electronic servers, and building up, like, providing quality resources and documentation for developers. That's actually one of my pain points that as when I started, if it wasn't for Satinder, I would have probably gone over it, because I looked at the documentation, and unfortunately, I think it needs a lot of work. I think we really need to focus on making it more accessible, making all the features, making all the understanding of how things are working accessible to normal like day-to-day users. Right now, I think we cannot compare our documentation with Zcash. Occasionally, I'm going back to Zcash documentation to understand how our daemons, how our binaries are working. So we are focusing on. Okay, I think I have spoken enough. So to make it brief now, it's a combination of providing electronic services, provide other documentation, providing scripts that's going to be housed under Meshbit. But at no point we have our intention of becoming a tribe of its own. Like we still want to focus on contributing to the Komodo at this point.
Okay. Do you want to take that and continue with that, Satinder?
Yes. So when I visited Nitin in Melbourne, there were two reasons. One, I did not take any break, much longer break. When I was working without any break, like on barter decks or on some. So I had to go somewhere for like holiday or whatever, because life. So that was one reason. Another was because Nitin is there, and I wanted to guide him because he showed some interest, and I did not have any intention to make him as a team member. It is his choice. I do not ask him. It's I just leave it to the other person. If they want to do it, it's fine. If they don't want to do it, it's all good. My purpose is to share the knowledge or share the way that I do things or I understand things with others. Because to my views, if I share something, I instead get more to learn, because the questions I get back, they encourage me to explore more and learn more, and then give the answers even much better way next time. So that's what I did when I visited Nitin, and he picked up pretty fast blockchain technology. Like in a week, he was up to speed. What is the basics of blockchain? What is a Komodo platform? What are asset chains? What are Notary nodes basics and all that stuff? So by understanding something, what are the points that you need to improve on? What are the lacking points in the system? So he also suggested some situations where the things are not good, some like documentation as he is speaking, which I totally agree. It's from the days of SuperNet, when the Komodo platform was called SuperNet. So it was also my point, like we are lacking the developer level or the technical basis of documentation of our product on a bigger basis. That's the main reason that third-party developers or third-party teams are not much able to contribute unless somebody goes into the source code, fiddle with the source code, look into how things are working, and then contribute. That's the biggest like a bottleneck, I would say. So that's improving by the time. I've seen some people or some Notary Node candidates also who are developing and making the documentation. Person like Zane, person like I don't remember the other person's name. I have seen those. Person like CH3. I've seen good documentations done by some guys, but I want to see these contributions done at collaborative way at one single point. Either I go to somebody who is already doing the good work, or I facilitate some people or help them with the infrastructure maybe. Help people any way possible. In case it's the revenue I can use to help, that I can use. If the skills I need to help with, that I can probably help. If it's help with telling people to understand the system, that probably I can help. So we are the technical guys. We do the system admin, we do the developers stuff. So it's my thinking as well, Nitin's thinking, to see things from the developer's perspective. So we want to solve those things. That includes the scalability that we will hit in the coming days, because the asset chains is advancing. We are moving towards the smart asset chains, which is going to be called probably smart asset chains, or probably parallel smart asset chains. I'm not sure what the name will be, but we are moving towards the smart asset chains, which means we can expect many of the Ethereum kind of ERC20 kind of token projects, which are growing in Ethereum ecosystem, or maybe another different ecosystem. We can accept the same kind of growth in Komodo platform. And when that happens, we need tools, we need applications, we need documentation, we need scripts probably to restart. So all of these things are my concerns, which I wish to either facilitate with my skills or help anybody who wants to do this. So any way possible, if we can help with the ecosystem, we will do it. So under these things, the first thing that Nitin started to do is to start making the Electromax servers. Electromax servers are basically used with our Agama wallet and BarterX, so that the user does not have to download the full blockchain of the coin they selected, which means they are using the light wallet functionality. So with Komodo, we are probably having 2, maybe max 3 or 4 Electromax servers. But to facilitate these Electromax servers, there is a cost of cloud servers or the system service. There's a cost of human skills, which is put into the system, managing them and all that. There's a cost of bandwidth, which is huge in my opinion, because as many people will be using, there's a huge cost of bandwidth for those servers. There's managing scripts and all that stuff. So Nitin is taking a huge time off his work after his day work, which I have seen, because we communicate time to time while he's working, or he's giving me updates, or I'm helping him somewhere to understand something, or maybe with scripts, or what specifications there should be. So he has done quite a lot of work in this area, automating the scripts, making the scripts to be compatible with any kind of cloud servers. It can be Amazon servers, it can be DigitalOcean, it can be any other XYZ servers on the internet, Linux servers, to set up these Electromax servers for different cryptocurrencies which are supported by Komodo Platform. So my plan is to have number of these Electromax servers, starting with maybe 10, and then probably 20, then probably max of 40. So I have also given this estimation of these servers or SMS servers. What is the cost going to be? What is the estimation price of Komodo going to be? And what are the earning nodes going to be in case we win those? And based on those earnings, we will put these earnings to the system to help these kind of system. Because Illustramex is one thing which is not going to be used by us. It is going to be used by the whole infrastructure. Mm-hmm. It's going to be used by the next version 2 iterations of Komodo smart contract applications. So this is a mix of system architecture level things and developer level of things, which we wish to help the Komodo platform. So yeah, that's the sum of what we are going to offer with our Notary nodes.
Excellent. That is, there's a lot there. And yeah, I just, a couple of things. Firstly, your work is definitely tireless, and you definitely deserve a break. When you feel like you need a break is probably the time where you deserve to take your breaks, because like you said, you've been working on barter decks, which is not even your core competency, we could say, but you've almost made it your core competency for a while. I don't mean making the barter decks. I mean like making that skill. I mean, you've just been working on it just so for the good of everyone. And now look at that. So I definitely firstly wanted to say thank you hugely for the work you've done on the barter decks GUI and everything else that you do behind the scenes there. But this is just a little bit of
it's my pleasure. I got this done.
Well, and so then the next thing is what I really like about all of this is that it seems like it's growing organically. It's not being pushed too quickly. It's not being hyped, which is helpful because then there's no unnecessary, or at least the pressure is minimal from outside voices, and you can just focus on what needs to get done and do it to the best of your capability to a very high level, which means lots of testing, lots of retesting, lots of interactions between team. There's so many people that put all of this together. It's not just one person, although sometimes there are single people who work like at the capacity of 10 or 20 people, but that's another story. But so it seems like the whole thing is moving to the next levels and the next stages. And what you're saying is that for this to be a clean transition to the next levels of capacity, a smooth transition to go from where everything is now to something that's being used much more widely and much more consistently by a much greater number of people, it's going to require Notary node operators to reinvest or to bootstrap or basically use what they get from Notary node rewards and stuff to fund the system even more, to grow the system organically even more in that kind of a way. And that seems like what you're saying, and that seems like a very healthy way to move forward. And it also seems like things are happening just at the right times. For example, more people are coming in. Now you're going to be looking at doing documentation, and that documentation is going to help to streamline for future people who will come in and work, and they will have now some documentation that they can refer to, which will make their situation easier, and it'll just compound itself more and more. And is there anything that you wanted to say about that or add on to that?
Yeah, there's I agree with the points that you say. Yeah, it covers, I think, it sums up all the things that we want to express.
Okay, good.
Anything you want to add, Nitin?
Yeah, I believe so. I would say in my head, when I think about these problems, I think in the way, so we at work, we use certain methodologies or we follow certain principles, for example, DevOps and Agile. So we are actually, instead of just creating documentation, we are focusing on defining the problem clearly and then seeing if we can actually create solutions for that using either scripting, or if it's a process which is going to require manual steps, then probably doing that using a document. So it's like finding the right tool for the right kind of problem that we see. Yeah, but that just as like it, you pretty much summed it up. That's exactly what we are trying to do. We are basically trying to see the ecosystem grow in the long term, that's going to be beneficial for community, not only from financial perspective, but also from usability perspective. If we want to see a world where it's not just fiat currency, which corporations and all those entities are controlling, then we have to actually invest in currencies such as Komodo and Zcash, so that you see them, you can actually leverage those privacy settings or privacy options which are provided by these ecosystems.
Yeah, sorry, Satinder, did you want to say something too?
Yeah, I want to add on that. The points I want to cover, which was in your point. So my BarterDex work, my internet connection. Are you able to hear me fine?
I got another. Hearing you fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay. So my BarterDex, I started that BarterDex work because I saw some other team was working on an easy version, but they were taking a different approach. And what I wish to do was I want to make the user interface for the testers as quickly as possible to the best of my ability. So basically, I started the BarterDex application for the testers. So the testers who are not with or doesn't feel comfortable with the command line interface, which is the most user base, they could test this application so that the developer, the core developer, James 7, he could find the bugs and fix those, which helped. This is the purpose of my work.
Good.
But my competency in making the application is using the software stack, the full stack that which I use to as quickly as possible to be able to give to the user end and able to use that application for the APIs. This was the first purpose of my GUI. But later on, the users demanded more different features, more functions. I added those and I kept adding those. So that turned out to be the GUI which people are using now, which is a more improved version than what I started with. So to my opinion, what I give to the ecosystem with BarterDex GUI is as a reference application for other third-party developers. Because this BarterDex GUI is providing everything possibly with API, which is made by James Lee. So I wanted to cover all possible APIs. I haven't. There are few APIs which are still not there, some amazing APIs, but it covers kind of 80-90% of the API set which James has made. So in case some third-party developer comes and looks at this code, how this is making things work in a combination way, it can be huge help for those. They can make the easier version. And such as the GUI which a person with a handle Pond C is making. His version of GUI is called HyperDex, and the client user-based and user experience-based GUI, which I like that. So do not feel bad in case you don't find it easy with the BarterDex GUI.
Not at all.
There are many things coming. Just like feel like you have some GUI to click on and check.
This is huge.
But I've seen that many people are able to test it and even feel like it's easy as it's not a big thing.
Considering
taking it as approach to coming from banking system to the Bitcoin system, people should also take the same approach towards BarterDex, because BarterDex is nothing you can compare to your stock exchange model.
Exactly.
Maybe even stock exchanges. You cannot. You have to empty your glass and refill with the BarterDex.
Well, and I think, part of the issue too might just be that people are almost too demanding and expecting of things to just magically appear out of nowhere. They don't realize, like,
it's fine.
It's fine, and it's good. Those demands are good. They push you forward. They give you the urge to want to do it right for everybody, and that's actually important too, of course. And at the same time, also recognizing that these things don't just pop out of nowhere, and it's not the simplest thing to do. And also it's part of the evolution. If this is the first tester's GUI, well, of course, it's not going to be the same as the 20th one after it's, and another beautiful thing, like you kind of mentioned it with the hyperdex, is that this ecosystem allows just about anybody who wants to and who has the skills to come in and to prepare something, to build something and provide it to the community for the community to use. And then the community can decide what they want to use. It's just such a nice open system, yet at the same time, it's anchored by, you mentioned APIs that James Lee has done and all those. I'm not too technical, but basically it's still anchored within the whole Komodo philosophy, vision, and technology, but at the same time, it's open for people to come in and put in their work and grow it. And then just like a process of elimination, the things that have the value will stick around, and the things that are not necessarily desired or not as high value will just fall away to the side. And that's good. That's perfectly natural. It sounds like there's a lot of good stuff coming forward. And it sounds, actually coming back to Meshbits, it sounds like you and Nitin make a good team. It sounds like you have good communication together. You have a prior experience with each other, so you know each other, and which just that sounds like it's a good combination for moving forward for you guys. So I definitely wish you a lot of success in the Notary Node candidacy elections. I would love to talk to you another time, I think, just separately about some more specific things relating to Komodo. You have said, I mean, I look at your Twitter sometimes, and just there's some things that you see about Komodo and about what's to come that I don't fully grasp yet, but you get it. You see things there, and it's hidden in your tweets. And sometimes you say things like, for example, you say things about chips and Lightning Network and that sort of a stuff, and I'm just like, where is this going? What does he see? And so that makes me very excited. So perhaps we could spend another time to talk about those things. Yeah, that would be pleasurable.
What's happening in development, I can relate those things in a technical way. It's we both come from computer science, so we also learned the scientific way of taking these things. We learn those by learning through our experience. So I think mostly of these things technical ways, logical ways, or even by the other things that we learn from life, like socially, interactions, the user's behavior, the work experience gained throughout our experience in careers. So all of these combined knowledge gives a pretty good view of the future, where we are heading towards. Really much helps how the things can turn around, how the other things happening in the ecosystem, how the government's view, the users view, how the other developers view will turn around and take this technology to which way or which side. So it's always be open for new ideas, not to shut our ears or mind or whatever, to keep our senses open and mind open to get all those knowledge and use in a what to say, good way, in a constructive way, which learned from that how he sees things. And it is sometimes surprising to see that the technologies he sometimes criticized, and sometimes seeing those technologies being used in the ecosystem. The thing is, which I learned is, these specific things can be useful for our ecosystem. So such things are going to be useful, and which is like Lightning Network. We do not hate Lightning Network. We do not hate anybody. We wish everybody to come, join, help each other, which my philosophy, which is the project philosophy. We don't want to hate anybody. Just come forward and we can work together. It's all part of the ecosystem. We are not here for against each other. We are against the fiat, the centralized control money.
And this has been made very clear actually by Komodo Platform members, is basically that you are not in competition with any other project. You're in competition with fiat is basically the slogan, But the main idea is that, and I see it, I feel it from what I see going on, is that you really are working with the whole space, the whole crypto community. Is you are open to everybody, and you do things that reach out to help others. You look to help other people within the wider community, not just Komodo, and that's something that I really appreciate and respect a lot, because it's easy to be all for yourself and try and make your project the best and put down other projects, and we're gonna be Ethereum killer and this and that type stuff. But at the same time, here you are saying, here you are, saying actually, no, we're all in this together. We're trying to move this space forward. Here's how we can help. And let's do some beautiful stuff. Let's change the world in that way. This is amazing, and this is just the beginning. Yeah. This is like just the very beginning. The foundations are being laid. We have no real idea how this stuff is going to play, but you might have better ideas than me. Anyhow, unless there's anything lastly that either of you would like to say, our time is coming to a close. I really want to thank you for making the time to be here with me and for this Komodo Pioneers podcast. And I really wish you the best. If there's anything else you'd like to say, or tell us where we can reach you, Slack channel, whatever else.
So you can visit the website meshbits.github.io. You can find most of the link information to reach us and to vote on our Notary candidacy. So please visit that website. I want to also thank this podcast organizing and Giuliano. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. You invited us to this podcast, and thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would also like to thank you, Giuliano, if I'm saying it right.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you going up. I know it took us a bit of back and forth trying to organize this, but finally all of us working in different time zones have been able to come together. So thank you very much for that. I think this is a pretty good opportunity to sort of showcase what we want to do and how we want to do it.
Great.
So that would be it.
Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for your interest and your hard work that I'm sure you're going to be putting forward. And good luck with your Meshbits. And I look forward to speaking with you again. All right. Okay. Take care, guys. And for now, bye everyone else. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Cheers. Bye-bye.